Hi, I am Silvio and this is part 6 of my 2025 Christmas Village full tutorial series. I am lucky because I have a job, and I am doubly lucky because I can combine it with my passion, my hobby, call it whatever you want. A very time-consuming passion, as you know, and as you may have experimented by yourself. But I have no problem at all managing both job and passion, working late at night or early in the morning. This, if I am here in Turin. But if my big boss asks me to go abroad for 5 or 6 days in a row for an emergency we had in one of our French plants, that become difficult to work on my Christmas village from 800 to 1,000 kilometers distant in an hotel room. Very difficult. That's the reason why I haven't uploaded a new video for the past 14 days. And I thought it was correct to give you an explanation. But now that problem seems to be resolved, if I worked correctly, I hope. So I will resume uploading one video per week. That said, what will you see during this part 6? Surely a new building for the industrial/commercial section, the left part of the layout. Maybe two, yes, maybe two, but I don't think I will have time to complete the second one, and it will be the main attraction of the industrial section when completed, because it will be the tallest building of this 2025 season. But let's try to work on it during the next days, and not for buildings like in part 5. I will not have time to do that. But the main focus and the tallest thing you will see is the support for my railroad. You have seen in part 5 that it can work, it will work. Having a train, a railroad rolling at more than 60 centimeters from the ground over the top of the roof buildings. But many of you have correctly pointed out that the straight section was a little unstable with a little too much sliding movement. Correct? Not that dangerous, because I only have 100-200 grams rolling on top of that support, but it can give problems. So I had to get once again in front of my computer and try to find some solution to that problem, to that problems with an S, because they are plural. Maybe the straight section isn't that problematic because the forces are always equally reparted all along the length of the tracks. But along the curves, it will be more dangerous. I will show you something I had found out to solve part of the problems. The straight sections will be a little more difficult to consolidate, to reinforce, to get them more stable because of the placement of the vertical pillars. But the curves one will be a different story. And by the way, in part 5, you haven't seen the curved section because it wasn't ready. In my mind, yes, but I haven't 3D printed anything, etc. But right now I will also have the round section, of the support to show you, and some improvements and something more. Enough talking, too long intro. Let's get to work, and maybe I will show you some more things during this part 6. Let's get in action. So where do I start from? Yes, train, railroads, and stabilities at 60 centimeters from the ground. And don't worry, I know what you are thinking. Here he is again with his sheet of papers, so it complicated the things. No, very quickly, guys. Train, scale model train, and everything in Natus goes with a movement, is subjected to forces. So if a train goes on a railroad in a straight way, let me schematize a little bit, a locomotive with some tender here, okay, with some coal, and then some wagons, etc. When it goes in a straight line, there are two kinds of forces implied. As Newton taught us many centuries ago, there is the weight that attracts everything towards the earth, towards the center of the earth. So there is this force here, the weight of the locomotive, of the tender, and of the cars or wagons that pulls everything towards the center of the earth. Gravity. But if a train wants to move, it has an engine, in this case steam engine, that applied some action onto the wheels, and this means that it applies some forces into the ground, into the rails, to allow the train to advance. If the train wants to go this way on a straight line, there are two kinds of forces. The engine tries to get the train there. There are also repulsion forces, but we are not here for a lesson on physics, okay? So the force towards the earth, center of the earth, the force applied by the wheels to try to get the train in movement. So the result is, if we take this and apply the same here, it is a vector of advancement. Okay, this is the diagonal, not exactly here in the diagonal, but the forces are always like that. Yes, the forces tend to go that way, but it contrasts the force of the weight. So in reality, we advance in theory just a little more with a tiny push toward the center of the earth. So this is the vector that allow the train to advance. So in a straight line, all the forces are applied like this all along the straight line, okay? Every weight, everything tends to go in this way on a straight line, guys. It means that every time a train advances on a straight line, imagine this is the track. When the train starts movement, it applies a movement like this. Then the train stops, the contrary forces like that. So on a straight railroad, on the ground, you don't realize that. But on an elevated track, the movements are only this and that, this and that. Advance, stop, advance, stop. This means that my railroad will only submit it along the straight line to those forces here. with the sliding towards left and right. So I risk derailments, I risk everything to crash only if I don't contrast these forces here. The diagonal forces apply also other forces, and an imperceptible movement may occur even in this case, but the majority on the straight lines are those. That's why you have seen each time I started moving the locomotive with the tender, the tracks getting this way and then stopping, getting the other way. These concern a lot of you guys, but I am here to try to give a stop, a minimum stop to that. I also shown you in the last, in part 5, last part, some of the curves. The thing is different along a curve, okay? I only had a 3D printed at that moment 3 sections of my curves, so no test was possible. But along a curve, along a section that maybe the train can come from a straight line, then goes in a curve to change, and then going somewhere else, then another time straight. Here the forces, as I have just told you, are only straight, but in the curve. When the train and locomotive start to go on the curve like that, and the cars and the wagon are still here, the forces applied are different, guys, because here the vector have already turned, and each time it advances, it changes the direction of the curves here. Then if it moves there, it will be like that, then it will be like that. But the trains, the cars, still tends to go in that direction. So, and I'm telling you this very shortly, all the forces applied change continuously all along the curve. So, if all the train is on the curve, same thing. The locomotive will be at a section where it tends to go, and then the other cars tend to go in another way, etc. So along a curved section, forces applied are multiple, have multiple direction. So a curved section is subjected not only to these sliding forces, but every kind of forces, horizontal and vertical and diagonal. Okay, so there is the horizontal forces, the vertical forces of the weight, contrasting the weight, and then also the diagonal forces changing, and not just one for the locomotive, another one, multiple times. Each little step it takes, the train takes, each elements of the train takes, the section is subjected to many forces. We are not talking about tons here. We are talking about 100, 200 grams maximum for all the train, locomotive, tender, and wagons. But curves are subjected to many more forces. So that's why it was important also to make stable the curves, okay? And strangely, it was much more easy to stabilize the curves, as you will see in some minutes, okay? Paper enough, I've told too much. If you want a lesson on physics, let me just know, and I will get to that. Guys, let me remember you one thing. Oops, sorry. That it all started from straight sections, okay, like those ones, and then some simple single elements applied there to support everything, the straight curves in the straight section, sorry, in the beginning, because I thought that, and I also imagined that it could work on curved sections. Okay, guys, that's how these work. I need to experiment when trying to figure out something new. You have seen in 5 during 2 weeks ago during my last part the train rolling on a straight section, yes, but with those elements here joining together some straight section, so it gives everything more stability. Not enough, yes, I agree with you, but it was already an improvement at that time 2 weeks ago. Okay, so these support here avoid the section to break down or to dismantle, and it gives extra support, extra horizontal support. Okay, then you have seen the entire structure, guys. I hope I will be able to show you without damaging anything. I have here the entire structure you have seen. Pardon me, but maybe I will get a little, but believe me, here you have the entire structure as you have seen it on part 5. Impossible to show you at this level of, no, impossible, too much closer, too close, too close, too close, let's say like that. But if I place it on the ground, maybe on the ground, on the flat, you may see that the straight lines, then those that tends to flex a little too much, as you have seen with here in the middle, simple connections there, okay, here in the middle, and this is intended to be 4 pillars, then the middle, then another 4 pillars towards the ground, okay, and this was made by using simple connectors here on the middle of the pillars, and then the normal supports on top of that. All of the pillars, guys, the pillars section had the same exact design and the same exact shape, okay, like those ones. So for more stability, I started to think, can I start from the ground? Yes, I could. Let me take this little piece here of styrofoam. Let me place here the section of the pillars, and imagine that you have 7 more section, one on top of the others, and this is 3 inches, 7 centimeters, okay, 3 inches sections, okay, 7.5 centimeter, okay, up to 60 centimeters, okay, and can I modify this in order to be more stable already on the ground? And I come to this solution here, guys. Maybe you don't see the difference from that distance, but maybe yes, maybe not. But I simply modified. Do I have something to point? No. Let me take something to use. Yes, a pair of tweezers. Let me approach the camera and look at the shape of the bases. They aren't the same. If I turn this upside down, you can see that I have enlarged the base section and applied 4 holes around. Simple modification. I redesigned, quickly done, 20 minutes, no more. And now each base column will be this way. Why? If I take my styrofoam, I place my base column there, then I take those nails here that are particular nails with not a big long 4 centimeters, I think, yes, 4.5 centimeters, having 2 millimeters diameter, 2.1 millimeters diameter, but the head here has a slightly larger diameter compared to the section. So each of these can go through and no more than to it, because the head diameter is larger than the rest. I calculated it correctly, and no, I haven't drilled everything. I simply modified the model and 3D printed the model with the holes already there for it. And guys, I can go like that with no problem, or I can turn it like that. I can go right, left, and this is absolutely much more stable. Okay, I grounded everything, and no, I will not use this technique right from today because I amn't sure where to place everything, but I will replace the base parts of each 8 elements tall pillars with this one here, making already a little advancement on the stability. So the ground will absorb a part of the sliding like that. Each nail support a different force. Okay, so this is the first step I will do to stabilize. And guys, I am throwing this away. I can't throw it away. Okay, and this is the secret, is getting the holes having exactly the perfect dimension to accommodate the nails. I made 6 attempts because during the 3D printing the heat of the nozzles of the filament 3D printer can produce variations in diameter. It's not a precise science. It's not like machining everything. It 3D prints using hot. So the PLA, the plastic, the corn plastic, this plastic, as I already told you many times, is derived from corn, non-eatable corn. So I'm not faming anyone, I'm not famishing, sorry, anyone with this plastic, and it has no precise dimensioning, but at the sixth attempt I got it correctly. It has not 2.1 millimeters in diameter, but 2.14 millimeters in diameter. I know it is strange, even if all the nails are factory made, so they are perfectly the same, okay? But this is an advance, and I can use it also as a number if I want. And the nails are still there and not moving, okay? It is good because I have styrofoam, I know, but you can use the same technique with some plywood if you want. Instead of applying a little force with your thumb, you can use a little hammer and you will get the same result. But that's why I love styrofoam, expanded styrofoam. Okay, guys? So a little improvement, up to you to judge. So from this to this, only for the base. Okay? Voila, this is told you as a starting point. Let me just disassemble something here. Let me just disassemble the first 4 parts here, the first 4 pillars up into the middle there. Okay, the 2, 4, 6 parts. And I started thinking about this section here that connect the pillars there. This is done like 1 pillar, then 3 free pillars, then 1 other pillar, okay? As you may see here. I don't think I will need more support than this, so it is 1 here, then 3 free, 1, 2, 3, then on the 4th one, the next support pillars, okay? But I started thinking, what about this? What's the origin of everything? Okay, let me get something I forgot. Good, guys. Here I have, as you can see, a modified version. Okay, simply a connector, original connector, okay, that had this shape here. I simply took the central part here. I simply took this section here, from here to there, duplicated it 2 times, and then rotated it multiple times to get it on the side at precisely 90 degrees from each side, okay? Let me remove the central supports here very quickly. Let's say very quickly. Let's say I will remove those ones. Here. This is done for 3D printing reason, to get the much more stable possible shape, and I already told you this, and like that, okay? Then if I take those clips away, I can take those clips away, even the central ones. Okay, I will place the central ones there, like that, there, 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 and there. Okay, then I will get another one, guys, very quickly. Maybe I will advance this fast forward in order to have 2 of them ready to show you, okay? Good, guys, now I have 2 of them. And I thought, with those two connectors to augment the stability, to avoid the movement that are subjected during the advancement, the sliding, okay, much more stable. Remember, I will have this one as first improvement, then here. Now, with those laterals, I can add something different, okay? Let me bring to you, and hallelujah to that, what is my absolutely favorite geometrical form of all. You already know, if you watched my 2022 season with the three-ring circus dome, triangles, guys, triangles that make everything absolutely more stable, much more stable, okay? This design, it's not 100% mine, is from some picture, some of you, and it is not a secret. Thank you, Robin Wright, okay, to giving me an old photo, an ancient photo, where a similar structure was used in a very tall construction, and a very tall metallic construction. I already knew that the triangles were the most stable thing to stabilize things, and even if they are very thin, they will help me stabilize everything, guys. Let me go this way. Let me go. Oops. This way, and let me go this way, guys. Okay, let's exaggerate. Let me do it one more time. There and there, okay? And this little guy here, I should have made some more space. I hope you can see. Let me remove this support here. Like that. And if I make the calculation correctly, okay, they will help me getting the pillars more vertical, more straight, and then stabilize everything. And you can see that if here it is a little, oops, you can't see, it is a little shaky. Here it is much more stable. I will try to apply the same forces, and you can see that this is moving and this is much more stable. Even more, I can do the same thing for the remaining part, and this will help me getting it more stable. Let me do it, okay? Let me do it. Voila, like that, guys. Okay, so much more stable like that. Okay, you are wondering, could I also go diagonally like that, going like that? Maybe yes, but this means having to 3D print. This is 24 centimeters. So I am already at the limit of the bed, the print bed of both the new and the old 3D printers. But here the diagonal is always longer than the rest. I will have to 3D print 28 centimeters. And yes, it is mandatory to have a single piece there, because otherwise I will lose the purpose of having the forces. I know I can model two pieces for the diagonal and then connect, but I will lose the theory there. Okay, I know it will be awful to see, ugly to see, but no, the intent is to always have a single piece stabilizing everything. One day, if I need, but I don't think I will need, because with those stabilization here, and guys, I only applied it in the middle, but I can also apply the two more. This means having to elevate of each time of these 8 here the section 3.5 millimeter, because this is half a pillar. Okay, this is half a pillar. So I can even go each junction between pillars with this, but it is useless. But this method can be, this means not having 60 centimeters from the ground, but a little more than 60 centimeters. But if I want, I can stabilize it even more. But I don't think I will need that, because of already of the pillars there, that the base pillars that will go each time with 4 nails into the styrofoam like that, and these hasn't clipped. Okay, now yes, but in case I can always add. I don't need the diagonal for the straight section, guys, because the train will roll this way. I need to contrast those forces here, not the diagonal forces. The forces will be like that or like that, nothing more. But I know that I should have placed some diagonals. This railroad will not support a tons and tons of weight, just something, okay? And the weight of this structure here is already superior, bigger, higher than the weight of the train it will support. So difficult to crush something that has more weight than what is rolling on top of it. In reality, It never happens. The support is always light-weighted than the train, that the tons and tons and tons of train passing, but in my case, no, guys. Allow me this, okay? Allow me this. Let me complete the 4 bases columns. Then maybe it is better if I start talking about the curved section more intensively, because during part 5 I only started the 3D printing, the curves and the supports and the lateral supports. Now I have all of them. Let me get this away from the table. Now guys, the curved sections, now I have more at my disposal to let you see. It was a little easier with the straight sections, okay, because everything is specular from one side to and the other side. All the connectors are the same and everything else, and all the pillars are always one in front of the other, like in this case, okay, one in front of the other each time, okay. In this case they are, but not as you can imagine it, because they have an inclinations, okay. They goes apart, and you can see here the distance, it is 4.5, here the distance it is 6 centimeters, okay. They goes apart, and even the connectors are different between inside and outside. I have already explained this, because the inside diameter to the center of the ring is less than the outer diameter, the outside diameter, okay. So those connectors are 12 centimeters long, those one are only 10 centimeters long, and each time I connect here an external between this and this piece, I'm not joining together. I could have used this to join together even the central one, but instead I wanted to have the stability here, also a triangle stabilities like that. I could have modeled things differently to go a shorter version for this connector here, or maybe 4 connectors, okay, for the internal, even the external. But just remember that the curves will not be always towards the right, but maybe may go towards the left also, etc. So, and each section is 30 degrees, and to complete a ring I will need 20 of those curved sections to complete a total ring of my track of my railroad. So internal and external, though this is support, okay. Just remember the paper and what I made. Each time the train goes, forces are applied. So here the pillars are closer one to the other, okay, to augment the stability. And if on the straight I was 1, then 3, then the 4th one, here I will go 1, 2, 3, and the 3rd one. But you can imagine that the geometry was not that easy to accommodate. When I started modeling the curves, I already had in mind that I had to modify the external and internal supports for the tracks, so no problems. But it is only after part 5 that I thought, if they pointed out, if you good people pointed out that I may have stability problems, more for the curved sections. For this purpose, I will not get these at the lowest 8. Let me simply add some of them here. Some of them. So guys, let me just go this way for this simple purpose, okay? Internal, external, 1 yes, 2 no, 1 yes, 1 yes, 2 no, 1 yes. Instead of getting this straight, I have a difference. The distance between those 2 points is 17. Here it is 27. At limit to have a single piece printed. But look at this type of connector here. Different from this one and different from the other one that went at 90 degrees. Those are not at 90 degrees, but almost at 90 degrees, so they are inclined. This was a hell to calculate exact, but here I have marked external left. So let me go voila. Now you can see that ta-da, ta-da, and ta-da. This is for the outside, okay? Once again, triangles everywhere. Once again, this is 22, not at the limit of the 3D printer, but almost there. These will go that way. So triangles, in this case, in the middle, I don't have the big chunk I had previously for the straight lines, because here I have 3 more supports, not 2 per section, but 4 per section. For the internal one, same thing, okay, triangles, but here if I add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 triangles, here just 3 triangles, but even in this case, in the curves, more triangles I have, more reparted will be all the forces for everything. And you may have already figured out that I will have here also some diagonals like that, okay, and here some diagonals that in my case are the same, right, left, I don't care, because this is symmetrical. If I made every calculation correctly, and if the 3D printer is almost accurate, like that. In this case, voila! And this will add stability. Okay, same thing after 4 pillars, guys. But this is absolutely stable. So in this case, you have a front, internal, external. So a straight line in a curved line, contrasting, yes, the forces here smaller and here also diagonals. So each type of forces are contrasted here. And no, I will not go like that. Okay, no guys, more than stable. This will be absolutely stable, plus the pillars, the initial pillars with the 4 holes for the 4 nails. Okay, maybe I can show you the final result. Maybe, let me take the final result. But it is a giant piece. Sorry guys, absolutely a bad idea. They are too giant to be shown you on this layout, but I assure you that it is very stable, much more stable the curves than the rest. And by the way, you have seen that at this level it's absolutely very stable. I can multiply this whenever I want and each time I want. Okay, before getting to work on the layout, I want you to get a first look at the next building. This will be building 02, building 02 for the section for the commercial / industrial section. It is a strange building because it is like that. It is a connection building. So the connection buildings need to get connected in a strange way to other buildings. In this case, it will allow me to get a 90 degrees turn from one side to the other and getting without counting that this will be inclined, so it will go up a little more inside, and inside I have some arches and two street wall-mounted street lamps inside, some lamps here, strange roof obviously behind nothing, and here also it is empty because I will need to join this. Useless to have nothing here because it will be hidden by other buildings. The important thing is here and then what will happen under, and it was time I started having some upon a tunnel buildings because they were used in that times, and I will have 2 more of them, two okay, not for street well-mounted lamps because they are already too powerful in this case. Then obviously some other buildings in the back, visibles, etc. And this strange roof here, it is meant to be like that because I will need maybe to cut it a little more to refine it in order to connect these to other buildings. This corner here, the right corner, will be connected to the to the antiquities store, the strange rounded building I had in part 5, the last building I had, the one that is half rounded here on the top. You will see once there. And where you have some holes, because the roof tends to go that, but once connected together, they will get inside. It was the only way to get such buildings, to have them cutted, refined, etc. No other way possible. Yes, maybe modeling a single building that has two common faces, but no, it doesn't work. Then a walkway, a strange walkway will be added, and I had no space on the base to add my standard connection, as you have seen, integrated into the base, so I used a standard connection like that. I think it will be the only one, like in this case, because it is very thin on the base. The other one, a bigger one with another arc, has a connecting base, so the connectors into the base. And here simply some paper, because this will be hidden. Those will be visible, those no, because they will completely hidden by something, and so it is. Inside, no scenes, but I have an LED inside, curtains added, light inside, a light here, but the main focus will be here. That's why I haven't a scene inside the building, because the main focus will be under the arc there. And you will see this in action, maybe also 3/4 of another building. Let's get some action onto the plywood, onto the layout.
We can do better. We could be chasing dreams. We know what's right, and we know how it feels. Yeah, we can do better. We can make a change for real. Yeah, we can do a lot better. We can be facing fears. We know what's up, and we know how to get there. Yeah, we can be stars. We can be the best. Just put us to the test and we'll show the world there's another way. If we just try a little every day, we can make it better. We can do better. We can be setting goals. We understand right down to the soul that we can do better. We can have a heart of gold. So let's step it up. Step it up. Step it up. We could be making moves. We know what time it is, and we know just what to do. Yeah, we could be on top, and you know it's true. If we just give ourselves a chance, we can show the world everything's gonna be okay. We just got to try a little every day, and we can make it better. Yeah, 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 yeah. is shining, wind blows through my hair, car is moving fast down the freeway to anywhere. We are going somewhere new tonight. I ain't letting you out of my sight. This might be crazy, I hope it is. Baby, this is what we do. We leave it all up for sale, 'cause we are going somewhere new tonight.
A final recap of part 6 of the 2025 season, and I am starting with a pan view of the mega structure there, guys. Maybe a little closer. I will go with everything I could manage to 3D print, to produce, to design up until now. Unfortunately, as I told you in the beginning of this part 6, I had a complete blackout of 6 days due to my boss that sent me in France for an emergency. But here with the 20 section, with the 20 curved section there, I managed to complete the full ring, okay? It will accommodate all the curves I will need to complete the ring, and starting from that point there, we'll start a curve to the left, joining the back side there. That is the design of the supports. And triangles, guys, as I told you many times, are very helpful. You may see that I had to elaborate this in half a section, so 10 curves, then another 10 curves. Okay, so that's the reason why here I have some emptiness there. Generally it is intended to be like that, so 1, 2 empty, desert 1. Here too you have 1, 2 empty and desert 1. But here in the middle I have a problem. I can use some modified ones, but I will need to have them modified, getting half of this one and half of this one together in order to have another section of diagonal supports and back and front. But if I don't need them, I will not use them. Why? Because in contradiction with a railroad that prevent continuity of everything, because a railroad cut the village every time in plain middle, and I discussed many times the fact that I can't afford, and I don't like when railroads are at 1 centimeters from the buildings, as I have seen many times during the years with railroad without fences, anything, rolling at close distance with the buildings, from the buildings. No, that's not tolerable for me. Okay, guys, so those passage here, if I can keep them like that, will help me getting continuity and getting something there. in the middle. Those may be transformed in some arcs. So with the passage, everything, even a building can be placed there, guys. Let me try something. Even buildings can be put inside there, having continuity, having etc. That's the advantage of having the railroad, for me at least, at these 60 centimeters from the ground. Okay, getting continuity in plain middle of the ring that would have been completely inaccessible from the outside without using some bridges that are useful. I used maybe them in 2019 last time, if I remember correctly. They are useful, but for the first time I wanted to have continuity of the village even under the pillars and then complete, so it will not be wasted space in the middle of the ring, but it can be if not using bridges, and bridges can block the point of view, guys, because without bridges these can be absolutely amazing, okay, and this is good for that. So no wasted space with those ones, like mega structures, like a village and the mega structure, like a Victorian village completely submerged in some mega structure. Right now I have a problem here because I haven't thought about it, because here I have a problem of stability because of the way I had the two 10 pieces, the two 10 sections together. So 10 section from the left and 10 curved section on the right. This is completely unstable because of the fact that I don't have any support on the inside and on the outside. The rest of the connection have or from the outside a connection for each section. Where I join them together, because this is symmetrical, I couldn't go 1 1 1 1, okay? It's natural like that. So lately this night, maybe early in the morning tomorrow morning, I will model a support of 3, okay, having those two in common, sorry guys, those two in common plus this one, okay. These will avoid the problem of detaching here in the middle. So two here that are connected, this one, the junction is assured by that, okay. This one no, but the inside is assured. This one assured the connection between those two pieces, etc. So they are slided. Here I have a problem. So I will model for the inside and for the outside of such parts a different one. Yes, you are thinking, damn you, why not going with a junction on top, so joining here and there? Okay, yes, it could be done. I will use some other things there, but I wanted to have continuity of support from the below side there. That's the reason why I will have for tomorrow, for me, so for you for next time, a connection of 3. Guys, let me try something. Let me shake it like if it was a earthquake, and I assure you I'm putting, and you can see everything moves, but I'm applying 10 times much force than what will be generated by the train rolling on top of this, okay? So it will not crash. And right now I still haven't secured the new base pillars to the styrofoam, guys. Okay, I haven't, because I can't leave this pure white like that, or pure ivory like that. I need to paint those, to prime those, to paint them after with some metallic paint, and I will need maybe 2,000 gallons of paint, 2,050 and 500 liters of paint, and obviously I cannot paint them right here on the, because it is mandatory to use the airbrush, so I will need to detach the junction and go outside somewhere, and then maybe on the balcony. Yes, I have a giant balcony. Maybe I can go on the balcony and do that on the balcony. It can't be done on inside. When I do some painting with my airbrush inside, I use a system of aspiring air. Maybe one day I will show you, because it is engineered to aspire out, or to capture all the dust that may be generated by an airbrush when mass painting everything. Okay, but I will need to do a solution for the straight section. Using these, so 1 yes, 3 no, 1 yes, etc. Even if I made 2 pieces, this one and then that one, then I joined them together in the middle, it still leave 1 here, 1 there, and you can see that the connector there, it is still there. I simply needed to join one piece and the other piece from front and back, and I will get completed the joining. I left it like that expressly on purpose to show you that with the straight section it is much more like that. So the straight section I modeled and think at the straight section much more effectively than what you can imagine. Those ones, with the fact that we have a different radius from the inside and from the inside and from the outside of the curves, make it easier to support. And no, I will not go with some supports in the back like modern structure. It will be enough like that. Just remember the nails on the bases. Then I will continue. Next time I will try to put the rails on top of them and start getting the curves. There is no more railroad right now on the, but I still have it with the shape I want on the carton boxes I use it. Now you can understand why I use it, that another time, that carton boxes. And anyway, I have it modeled also on my PC, so I can reproduce exactly what I used. Here, the secondary street here in the middle can go further because it will not impact on anything, so some other buildings can be placed there. Here, yes, if I modified this one, I will need to shorten it and then get a curve here inside to get there. But guys, I will use every space I need. Think of those like niches. And by the way, you have cars rolling under New York and Chicago, elevated trucks, you have people getting through, etc. It's not like having a railroad in plain middle of the ground there, that I have always difficulties to get life inside. That's why I haven't used a railroad in the past 3 years, I think. Last time it was in 2022. Yes, 2022, I think. This would have been the third season without, because it takes so much space. Or you use the borders for everything going on the circle, or if you wanted to have an articulated like this one, you will waste some space. But like that, no. Niches, parkour, etc. And then just remember that on the back I will also have the station at that level there, plus another part of the village behind the track, and something getting here in plain middle. I can manage to do some more things with an elevated track. And the problem obviously will be in that corner, that where I will have some other buildings. Here what I did also, I managed to connect every PCs in big junctions, etc. So this is almost complete. I still need to have there, but you can understand now why I haven't gone further, because first I needed to test if the elevated railroad will fit. I've already said thank you to Robin Wright once or maybe a couple of times during this part 6, but this design that I made express after part 5 went online, I did it because Robin sent me a picture. Maybe I will show you that picture right now. It is a megastructure, a Victorian early 1900 megastructure, and you can see now, maybe, or you have just seen a similarity between those two structure triangles, guys. So it helped me. Thank you, Robin, once again. I love the collaboration like that. I love critics. Yes, I understand everyone critics about the stability. I didn't want to make something too real, too close to reality, to nowadays railroads. But this solution, it is good, I think. I could have gone with that solution for each pillar, but it will be ugly to look at. These give me plenty of solution, and having that as niches, as a way of continuing, is absolutely not like having what I have always told you I hate. So a rectangular shelf on top of which it is another level. This is integrated in the layout. Nothing new here, guys. Okay, but believe me, losing another 6 days of work and staring at the ceiling of my hotel room for long hours during the night because I couldn't work on anything, and obviously I couldn't model anything simply because the laptop I use for work is not suited for 3D modeling or anything like that. I needed to use my very powerful home PC. I will say it another time, I don't model on a laptop. It will be impossible. Maybe with a laptop, a priceless laptop of 2,000 to 3,000 euros or USD, but it is useless to use a laptop to do 3D modeling. I have a tower, I change components inside, etc. Okay, let's go ahead. So guys, here let me go first like that, guys. So it has changed aspect, okay, once again, like that. It is not finished. That building there, building number 1, building 01, building alpha, that I modeled in late January, first days of February 2025, gave me idea to generate everything else. That is the ancestor of every other building. It is still not completed, as I told you. And I will nothing. Yes, maybe like that. I will switch off some of the lights, okay? I will switch off some of the lights, maybe all of them. Okay guys, the camera is not set and I still have the monitor. Maybe I will switch off also the monitor. So guys, here it is the effect in plain night. I haven't used wall mounted lanterns from both sides because it will be too intense. Already 2 of them, it is very intense, and I can approach now in plain dark like that, and this will be the effect. And just with 2 lanterns, wall mounted lanterns, the arc, under the arc, is completely in plain light, and obviously inside the building I have an LED too. So 2 lanterns, plenty of light. It is not the usual color of light because I like more cold light, more whitish. This is a little too yellowish for me, but it will help me. And even if I approach Geneviève, excusez-moi, madame, to the lantern, you will see figurines clearly, even in plain night, under this arc. Okay guys, never used before an arc. I wanted to use an arc before, and thanks to Mr. Building number 1, let me switch on once again all the lights. Maybe not the monitor, I don't need the monitor right now. Like that. Okay guys, like that. And that building is still on the a work in progress, and that's the reason why I haven't modeled anything from the side, as I shown you during some let's say half an hour ago. You have seen it half an hour ago. And from this side, guys, even this side will be completely hidden, so nothing to worry about it. But it is needed to have such buildings for my village in this season. The ones that connect together, this one that will be intersecated. The reason why I cut there, and I've shown you why I cut the building there, is because this building here, that I can remove right now, it has this part here, oops, this part here, that it is protruding from the rest of the building. So that's the reason why I had to do the other building in the other way, guys. And this is a puzzle, but I can replace everything now that I have placed everything. These need to be a little further, like that, like that. This one will be placed. Building 1, guys, it is the real chief of everything, pure industrial, pure Victorian industrial, maybe a little towards steampunk, but no, maybe a little towards punk. Let's say towards punk. Inside I still missing everything, and I only placed one hole here, one other hole there, then two more holes in the front, one here and one, sorry guys, one here and one there, because I will have mount wall mounted lamps like those one, maybe like this one, maybe I will use this one. And then something more that is something new for this 2025 season, and something and a technique I've never used before. Never. So there are, I think, 8 layers of painting on those walls. I started with intense red, then added some black, then added some dark gray, light gray, then added some more dark red, then some terracotta, and then some finishing of white, and some gray and some black to get it more dirty, like on the chimneys. Industrial, not need to be clean. The only thing white and pure clean is the entry, but even the door is old, so the wood is a little ruined, a little damaged by the time. Okay, here it is strange, I know, but I will have walkways. That's why I added the support. Otherwise, the building is getting strangely towards one side. There will be signs, there will be a clock, maybe. It is plenty of pipes, some are oily steel, and then some chrome like this one. It is intended to be like this one. This is not oily steel, but it is gunmetal, so a darker gray, metal gray than the ones I used for the pipes. But the chrome here intense like that, very quickly, very roughly, it simulates something that it is old. And then here and there some copper pipes that are similar to the color of the building, because this is an industrial building. Every industrial building during Victorian era was pure bricks, and it has been difficult to model at this level all those little bricks there. And then what else? And then having the shades of color. Once I got back from France, I spent, I think, 10 hours to paint this one. That's why I told you it will not be finished for part 6. This one, and generally the others, takes 2.5 hours, 3 hours max. This one is huge, guys, and it will have another building there, continuity, differently done, etc. So why I know that? Because they are already done, modeled, 3D printed, some wires inside, and primed, not painted. Give me time, guys. It is I already have more than 10 kilograms of filament 3D printed. Not everything is there. I also have some other straight sections, some other curves. I am out of pillars, so I urgently need to 3D print more pillars. I still have some new modified base pillars, but this is time consuming. Even with 3 FDM printers, it took me ages. And yesterday this was full, okay, and 1 hour ago it was empty. I already started 3D printing some more of those one. I use only one 3D printer to print those one now. Before I used all the 3 of them, but the other 2, the old ones, I used some rim around. The new one let me print there. So 12 clips in each 20 minutes are produced, okay. And what else, guys? I told you everything. I think I'm back. I will be back. I'm back. So it's some words I already heard many times in the past by a big guy. It has been governor also, I think. Okay, joking, guys. No, I will continue working on building number 1. That is building number 2. Okay, I lost the other buildings. Okay, 1 and 2. Then I modeled some other buildings, and I come back and there. The only exaggeration I have with my buildings, and I know, guys, are the AC, climatization, okay, air conditioning. Maybe it is not air conditioning, maybe it is a surprise, but right now it is the only exaggeration. Pipes, Victorian era pipes, simply because many of the buildings in Victorian times were adapted from older buildings. So instead of having pipes inside, it was better to adapt the buildings having pipes from the outside. Then from a certain point on, they started building buildings that had pipes integrated into the building. That's the reason why I used external pipes all over that. Okay, guys. Oh yes, I forgot. I also added this part here, that is temporarily because I will need to have other buildings there in this section, so it is temporary. And here will be the big problem, because the railroad needs to be going here, and then having another giant circle like the one, another giant ring like the one you have on the other side, that allow the train to go back, or to come from somewhere and to go back in the back. Okay, and here with all the buildings, but I will manage to find a solution. I will try to have a more supported, ready for part 7, and go ahead. The main password for this week will be 3D print pillars, and the rest, take a look, guys. 8 section for each pillar, for each support, okay? And take in consideration that any of the printer can print 9 easily, okay? Not engulfing, not placing a full print bed of pillars. 9 pillars, 9 section, 9 3 inches sections, each 8/9 hours. It is perfect for the day as I work. It is perfect for the night. Maybe not too much for the night, but for the day they are perfect. Each printer print 9 pillars for the entire day. Then I come back from work and I have 9, 18, 27 pillars ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25, 26. 26 elevated pillars multiplied by 8. 64. It is ready, done. The calculation of how many pillars I already 3D printed, and it is not even finished. It will be finished in a month and a half, I think, and I will continue working there. I will try to add some more buildings there. Once again, sorry for not having posted anything during the past 14 days, but I can say no to my boss. And it is somehow like Miss Genevieve. I have a boss that is similar to Miss Genevieve, and when she tells me something, it is mandatory. It is an order. I have to say, yes, madam, yes, okay. Madam, yes, madam, or madam, yes, 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 madam, yes, okay. Something like that. I hope she is not hearing me right now. But I doubt that she will spy on me, even on my channel. Okay. See you for the outro, guys. Bien sûr, Madame Geneviève, c'est l'idéal pour du bungee jumping. Peut-être même sans élastique, si vous avez le courage. Why not allowing her to do bungee jumping without an elastic? Okay, from that height there. Maybe a solution to all my problems. That is how it will be. Okay, giant structure, but helpful structure, as I just told you during the final recap, with everything I can add under it, and it will not prevent anything. Also, maybe I will try to go something even higher. Let me work on something to stabilize there in the next hours, I think. The new building there, building number 1, the chief of all for the section, for the industrial / commercial section there. Now you have seen it, not complete, not complete, not complete, okay? It will take me at least one more part, maybe 2 more parts. It is so complex to do what I wanted to do, especially the final part. But now you can see how intricate is the layout I want from that side. Here too, but being on the ground there, being on the front, it is better suitable for work like there. But it is a mini restart after 6 complete days, having my hands blocked by some... Okay, zip it. What else, guys? The connection building. I will have 2 more of those buildings that are not completely suited for being real buildings with life, but they are connectors between other buildings that are complete. That one, and I will have another one somewhere else, and another one. They are useful in such a village, and nowhere in any catalog from any Christmas village producer you can find such buildings. You can find facades, yes, but not buildings studied, developed to be used as a junction between other 2 buildings, and allowing me to go at 90 degrees, etc., changing maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there is someone somewhere that has found a building with an ark on some catalog. Please tell me if you ever found it. But I wanted to do an arcade building since, I don't know, since I was still working with my mother on a giant family Christmas village. And I hadn't the possibility to do, because yes, doing it with carton, managing it with my styrofoam, it's not the same result. Details, I cannot achieve those details with styrofoam. Just remember my scriptorium from 2-3 seasons ago. Impossible to reach those levels of details working with styrofoam. Yes, but bricks, but not those levels. Only 3D printing, 3D modeling, 3D printing gets you something like that. Something you can visualize, because your mind allows you to visualize everything you want, but then get from what you have visualized to something real, to something there, tangible, you can manage. It's very different. Now I can. I had 2-3 seasons to adjust to what I can do with my 3D printers and my, sorry, I'm sweating like that, but it's the hottest week of the year, and it has a learning curve to adjust to 3D printing and modeling for 3D printing. Okay, now I can do that. Enough, please. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and give big thumbs up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for bearing my absolutely awful English, and see you for part 7 in 7 days, in a week, maybe between Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, I hope, but but only if you really wish. Sorry guys, I'm a little tired. Bye.